reaching out. The word of God is all we need. Who the Son sets free is free indeed. So God, please speak to me, reaching the next generation.
Early morning right here in Spring, Texas. I'm Chef Jones and I'm in the kitchen early. Today we're going to go through a recipe for macaroni and cheese. And hopefully you will be able to make this at home. So I've already prepped some of it so that it make this a easier transition and give it flow. All right, thank you. So I'm going to put some macaroni and cheese, and I'm going to make a 3 cheese. And what I've done is I've cooked my macaroni noodles, and I want to tell you what to do that because I'm not going to be able to show it to you. I've already cooked them. For every pound of macaroni and cheese noodles, you use 2 quarts of water and 16 ounces of chicken broth. I'm doing 3 pounds of macaroni and cheese. So I'm going to use 6 quarts of water and 48 ounces of chicken broth. And I'm going to bring that to a boil, and I'm going to put salt. I'm going to salt the water. Make sure you put salt in the water. You don't have to put any oil in it because we're going to use butter later on. So once you do that, you're ready to mix it together. So I'm going to mix it in this big pot, and then I'm going to spoon it into the pans that I'm going to bake it in. So let's start mixing. I'm going to get my strained macaroni noodles, and I'm going to put them in here, and I'm going to put them in the pot, and I'm going to start mixing this up. Now, if you follow this recipe, you're going to find out that it's going to be really, really nice. So these are 3 pounds of noodles. Just dump them in the pot. Now there's 2 things that I'd like to remind you of. In the kitchen, we practice the double S. That is safety and sanitation. Safety and sanitation. That means you don't, when you get around the stove, it is hot, knives will cut. So you practice that, and you always wash your hands over and over and over and over. So now we're going to put this down, and this only takes about 15-20 minutes. So about 15-20 minutes, I'll have this all ready to put in the oven. So once you put it in here, this is still hot. You're going to spoon in 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter. I've got 3 pounds, so I'm going to use a whole 8 tablespoons. That's what our stick of butter is, 8 tablespoons. So you're going to put that in first. And that'll coat these noodles with a buttery flavor instead of having them oily flavor, because your cheese got some oil in it as well. So we're going to make this out like this, and this is going to come along really, really neat, very tasty. So we're going to put the butter in, and you take a spatula of some sort, a regular spoon, and you just kind of mix this butter all around in these noodles, so it'll just kind of melt the butter and get it all mixed in these noodles. You do this while the noodles are hot, so that you can, so you see that steam coming out of this pot. These noodles are hot, and that butter is getting mixed all in these noodles. This is a really, really simple recipe here that you could cook at home. And one of the things that I want to encourage you to do, when you're cooking your macaroni and cheese or cooking things, make enough of it so that you can freeze a whole pan and then just pull it out of the freezer and stick it in the oven. That's all you have to do. You could make 10 pans of this, and then you could take those, cook a pan of it, put the other 9 in the freezer, and when you get ready for it again, it'll be just like you got fresh cooked macaroni and cheese. Just pull it out of the freezer, put it in the oven on 325 to 350 for about 45 minutes, and you got yourself a nice fresh pan of homemade macaroni and cheese. So now that I got this all mixed up in here, now we're going to add some cheese to it. The cheeses that I'm going to use today for this macaroni and cheese is shredded cheddar, sharp cheddar, and pepper jack, and mozzarella. Now, here's the thing I want you to remember. We're only going to put a little of the cheese in at a time. So I'm going to start with putting a little of this cheddar. I'm going to put about a whole cup and a half of each one of them. Again, on the cheese, I've got 48 ounces of sharp cheddar. And if you was making a pan of it, you would use 16 ounces of sharp cheddar, 8 ounces of pepper jack, and 8 ounces of mozzarella. I'm using 3 times that much. So I'm going to put this in, put a little, I cut my mozzarella in slices. You could grate it, slice it, or you can get it already shredded. I mean my pepper jack and my mozzarella. So you're going to put this cheese in. And that's the mozzarella. And I'll put a little, that's the pepper jack. I just put a little mozzarella in now. And then we're going to stir this in. So once you get this stirred in, this is going to either be 2 or 3 pans of macaroni and cheese, depending on how much each pan will hold. But we're getting it all in here. Now you're going to put 3 cups of milk in it. This is 4 cups of milk here. I'm gonna save a cup of it. You pour that milk right in there. You want to save 1 cup. Yep, there you go. That's 3 cups of milk, and you get that all in. Now, once you do get it all, just kind of mix it in. You know, this is gonna, you'll see this when I finish it, but you want a nice creamy macaroni and cheese. You don't want it to be, dry, but you want it nice and creamy. And if you follow this recipe like this, that's what you'll get. Now, you probably have seen me cook macaroni and cheese before, and I cooked a cheese sauce on the stove first and then poured in. I'm not doing that this time. This is a different cook. The house guests have not had this macaroni and cheese from me before. I've never cooked it for them before. So this will be a brand new dish of macaroni and cheese. Now that you got that mixed all up and you got it in there, you're going to season it now. And to season it, you're going to season it with black pepper and ground black pepper. And you're just going to season it to taste, just like you would if you were putting pepper on a plate of food. That's the way you think about this, but you're just going to season it to taste. You know, you don't have to worry about, just don't overdo it. This is, then I'm going to put some seasoning salt on it, and that's going to be seasoning it to taste again. But remember, I've got 3 pounds here, though, so it's different. You would not put as much as I'm putting in this. And you got salt in the water, so the salt that's in the water is also going to be in your macaroni noodles. So now we're going to put a little onion powder. Don't go wild on the onion powder. So you want about a half teaspoon. So I'm going to put about 1.5 to 2 teaspoons. Because you don't want this to be tasting like onions. That's about that. Even if you don't put any, that's fine. Now I'm going to put some paprika so that I can give it some color. So you just sprinkle some paprika. That's going to make it colorful. And I got 3 pounds, so I've got a lot. So you wouldn't put that much. That's all you need to put in this macaroni and cheese so far. You're going to mix that all up. Now, we're not done yet, but we're almost. See, because as I said, this is a very easy recipe for you to make. And I want you to do this at home. And if you do this at home, send me a video of what you've done. And I'm going to pick somebody to feature on my channel. And I would love to have an opportunity to consider your dish. It will really help to see that you followed the recipe and you got the taste that I thought you should get. That would really be a help. Now, after I mix all of that up, got it all stirred in really good. And you want to do that because you want this to be really, really nice and creamy. And that's why you want a big enough pot or bowl to mix yours in so you have room. Now, once you do that, we still have something to do. We need to make a custard. Now, this custard is going to be very simple. It's just a cup of milk and 1 large egg. So since I'm working with this, I'm going to use 4 cups of milk because I'm going to make mine a little bit extra creamy. And so I got 4 cups of milk already here. I'm going to crack 4 eggs in it. Now, normally, let me just say this. If you're not good at cracking eggs, crack them in a bowl first so that you don't get any of the shells in the milk. But I'm going to put 4 eggs in here. Now, once we put 3 cups of milk in there, once we mix this all up, you're supposed to add another 1/4 of a cup. So this is my other milk. So I'm going to add it in. And seeing what you do, get all your measured your ingredients out before you start. That way you don't miss anything. And if you look on your counter and you see that you still have something, that means you missed something. So get it all out before you get started, and that way you'll be sure to put all the ingredients in that you're supposed to. Now, this is looking really good so far. So now I'm going to take it now and I'm going to whisk up these eggs. Let me grab my whisk. And you're just going to whisk up your eggs and milk. This is called your custard. But get it all mixed up really good. You want those eggs to be mixed into the milk very good. This is a very, very easy recipe that tastes so good. Now you got that all mixed up in there. So now we're going to get this ready to put it in the pan that we're going to bake it in. Now, normally I would like to bake this in a cast iron skillet or something, or I like to bake it in a casserole dish, but today I'm using aluminum pans. I normally don't do it in aluminum pans, but you can if you want to. Big parties, we want to, make sure that the less we have to clean up at the end of the day, the better it is. So we're going to use the aluminum pans today. And so I'm going to set this back over here for a moment. And I'm going to grab my pans. And I'm going to start with, let's see, 2 pans. We might need 3, but on your pans, you want to grease them. You want to grease the bottom of them. And so I didn't get the butter out. So I'm going to grease them with oil, regular vegetable oil. And so all you want to do is put about a cap of oil in the bottom of the pan so that you have that like that. Sit that over here too. Now you want that to get all over your pan. Now, on this part right here, take your time and do this the right way. Do not omit this process right here. The way you put your macaroni into the pan. So now what we're going to do, right here, I've got that there. I'm going to put that there because we're going to set our pot over here. You see, I got all my cheeses cut already in a separate bowl, and we're going to just put it in here. And I'm going to grab now a ladle. So we will ladle this out. So now what we're going to do, what you do now is take your noodles and you want to put your noodles in the pan that you're going to cook with. So we're going to take this and set it over here. And now we can actually get a regular spoon and spoon this into the pan. Now this one. And so what you want to do is just put this in here like that. This is going to be really nice and creamy. You want to lay this whole bottom now once you layer the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and do both pans at once. I don't think we're going to have but 2 pans of this. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get but 2 out of this. These are slightly bigger than a half pan. A pound of macaroni and cheese will fit in a half pan. So if these pans are like 1.5 times the size of a half pan. So we're going to put these, get all of this in here, and then we will spread it out, get it on the end. Now you're going to layer it with some cheese. We're going to start with the cheddar. And then we're going to add the pepper jack. And then we're going to add put that right here for the time being. And we're going to add this here, the same thing. I like a lot of cheese in here, so it's all right to add extra cheese too. That will be okay. You'll probably see me do that as well. Now that's that one. Put the pepper jack in here. That's all you need there. Just making sure it's going to melt and it'll go all the way through. Now we're going to put a little mozzarella. And when you're putting your mozzarella, you put a little less mozzarella than the other 2. Just that's enough on there. Put a little bit more mozzarella here. And now we're going to move this down and set this up so it can stay here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put in another layer of noodles. Just kind of make sure you cover it. So that's the way that goes. Come on, so now we're going to move this over. See, that's how it's looking so far. And so now you're going to do the same thing with this pan. Now I've got that. Now you're going to come right back and put your cheeses on it again. Starting again with your cheddar. Now you're going to put in some pepper jack again. Put these all the way down this just center now, just to make sure that they get covered. They'll melt down and be really flavoring the entire pan of macaroni. See, once these are done, you could actually put them in the freezer and then just pull them out and cook them when you're ready. You don't have to worry about them losing any flavor. Now that that is done, we're going to put a little mozzarella. Let's see, what is this? This looks like is that cheese? Or yeah, that is cheese. I'm laying this mozzarella now right on top, like a crossway on the pepper jack to help it blend in the pepper jack. Now the rest of my mozzarella is shredded. So I'm going to put a little of this in here. Now we're going to come back and put one more layer of macaroni noodles. Now you'll notice I didn't use any flour and I didn't use any starch in here. This is going to thicken up just by itself. It doesn't need any of that. So this recipe here is very easy. You won't make a mistake and overburn the cream sauce or the cheese sauce. So it just gives you so much of an advantage. So we're going to put this all over here. Now, if you can see, I got it all out and it's all made 2 pans. That's 3 pounds of macaroni and cheese. So I'm done with this. So I'm going to set this over here for the moment. And now what we're going to do with this now is we're going to spoon in the custard for it. And that's what this is. This is just milk and eggs. Use 1 egg and 1 cup of milk, or you can use, if you want it to be extra creamy, you can add more, another extra cup of milk and another egg. But if you were doing just 1 serving, you would only want to add another 1/4 cup of milk. You don't want to for that 1 serving. But what you want to do now is you want to put it in this a little and just slowly carry it through. You want this to get all the way in. You definitely want it to get to the bottom really good. So now we're just going to evenly mix all of this in. Now you take your spatula and you want to just kind of go down in it just to make sure that it's really getting in there. And if that spatula is not strong enough, we'll use a spoon that is, like that. And that's coming on pretty good. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to put the rest of this custard in it. Now we have all of our custard in. And if it doesn't have enough, you can always add a little bit more milk to it. But I'm going to let this be enough because we still have going to do one more thing to it. But the thing about this here recipe is that you're doing everything while it's off the fire. If you notice that once you cook your noodles, you're doing everything to it off the fire. So now what's left is we're going to go ahead and redo the cheeses. Put some more cheese on it. This is pepper jack. So this is going to give it a little spice. You know, I've never had this here. I've never cooked this for the house. But it was requested. So that's what we're doing. This is going to be a rich cheese. This is going to be really a rich cheese. If you see all the cheese here, you got to know that there's not going to be a lack of cheese flavor. And that's exactly what we intend it to be like. So now this is all of that cheese. But we're going to put some more shredded cheese over that. And what we're going to do is put some shredded cheese in here. Like that, a couple of hands of shredded cheese. And we're going to mix our mozzarella cheese in with the shredded cheese, with the cheddar. And we're going to mix these two together and top them with this. I don't think I got quite enough cheddar in here. I'm going to have to put one more. Yeah, one more thing of cheddar. Because I got 3 pounds and not 2. There you go. Now that looks like it's supposed to look. And now you just want to top this like that. Yes. Hello? Hello? I can't hear you, Barbara, if that was you. Well, I thought I was answering a call there. And so I'm not sure if I can do that. Now this is a little slight here, so I'm going to add a little bit more cheese. You want to cover it with your cheese. And these are ready. These are ready to go in the oven. See, now you could take this and put it in the freezer and freeze it. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks, a month later, if you want to take it out of the freezer and cook it, it'll be just right. You can just take it out of the freezer, stick it in the oven. But I'm going to have this set, and it's got enough of the juices in it so that it doesn't run over. But this is the way this is the pan of macaroni and cheese. Now, this is the only thing that I'm going to show in this video. I am going to cook a roast. I'm going to cook a roast, and I want to do a separate video on cooking the roast, and then I'm going to do a separate video on cooking the cornbread. So we got a little ways to go, but we're getting there. I'm also going to show in this video, let's see, we have a little time. I'm going to put our chicken in, because we're doing chicken, roast, turkey, and ham. I'm only going to do the chicken and the roast and the cornbread and the collard greens and the rice and let the others get in the kitchen and finish up these other meats. But this is ready. This is ready. And all you do is you put this in the oven, bake it at 350, and let it bake for about 45 minutes to an hour. But check it, and it'll get nice and brown with a little speck of white and gold top. You got a good macaroni and cheese, and this is going to be very flavorful and it's going to be to the delight of those that have it. So I'm going to set this aside, and I think I'm going to do my pot roast in a whole separate video. So I'm going to close this video out, and then I'm going to be back in a few minutes to start cooking the pot roast, because I want to show each one of these items separately. That way, when you want to know how to cook macaroni and cheese for your home, you have this recipe. When you want to know how to cook a nice pot roast, you have that. And if you don't get my baked chicken, we're doing some baked chicken this time. I got a marinated sauce that I'm showing how to make your marinated sauce that would totally change the outcome of your chicken. I got my chicken already marinating in that sauce. I did it last night, and it's marinated. And then I'm going to take it out this morning, put it in the baking pans, and get it ready. But I'm going to come back and show you that. Now, I've got these. I'm going to set these aside. And since I got that here, I'm going to show you that now. Since I've got it already ready and marinated, I'm going to show it to you right now. That way I'll kill two birds with one stone. Now, this is our chicken. And let me just kind of move all of these things out of my way. Now, this is a different chicken, and you will be so glad you got this. Now, on the chicken, I want to say that you can actually do this chicken like this, and you can bake it, you can fry it, and you can bake it. So let me show you. I'm going to talk you through it so that if you watch the video, you'll be able to know what we did. I'm going to first grab the two pans that I'm going to cook it in. In fact, I'm going to cook the chicken. No, not that. I'm going to cook the chicken in these pans. And I might need 3 of them. But now let me just walk you through this. This is the chicken right here. These are chicken wings. Now you can do it with any part of the chicken, but I'm using chicken wings. I've done it with chicken legs and wings and all parts of the chicken. Doesn't matter. Now, but what you want to do to make it different is you want to make a marinating sauce, and you want it to marinate for at least an hour. It doesn't have to be overnight. It can just be for an hour. And how you make the marinated sauce is very simple. And let me give you that formula right now. If you're doing enough for your family, you would take 3 eggs, a half cup of water, and 8 ounces of Crystal or Louisiana hot sauce. Mix it all together, and you're going to marinate your chicken in that. Okay, that's how simple it is. Nothing more. Don't worry about your chicken being hot and spicy, because it's not. Now, let me open this. This has been sitting in here overnight. If I were going to fry this, I would drain the chicken in a strainer, just, put a strainer over this and let the drippings drop. And then I would batter it in I would make a batter, which would be simple all-purpose flour, a little seasoned salt, and a little cayenne red pepper. Mix that together, batter the chicken, put it in the pan, put it in the oven. That's how, not in the oven, but put it in the oil to fry it. It tastes really, really good. It really do taste good. So what we're going to do here now is I'm going to take this out. Since I'm not going to fry it, I'm just going to take it out piece by piece. You see it's in there, and I'm just going to lay it in here. And I'm not going to lay it I'm going to lay it not on the flat side. See, I'm just going to lay this chicken in here like that. Try to get about 30 of these in here if I can, because I've got about 60 more pieces of chicken. So you just kind of put it, in here, and that seasoning. And the other thing about this chicken, the way you prepare the chicken is you wash your chicken and then season it, and then you put it in here. So that's the way you do that. You wash it first, then you season it. And what do you season it with? You use salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. Those are the 4 things you use. If you don't have that and you want to use another one, just use seasoned salt, black pepper, and onion powder if you have it. Anytime you're dealing with meat, always add onion powder. Anytime. Doesn't matter. Now, I've never baked this chicken for them here in the house either. Never baked it for them. This is going to be something very new and very different. And I'm going to tell you another little secret about your seasoning as well. But I'm going to try to get as many of these in so I don't have to use but 2 pans. And see, you can make this up and you can put it in the refrigerator ahead of time, and you'll be ready to just pull it out and put it in the oven. You don't have to wait till the last minute to do this. Your prep work is very important. Now, I think that's about as many as I'm going to get in this pan. Maybe 1 or 2 more. Yeah, maybe I'll squeeze another one in there because I'm trying to get away without having to use but 2 pans. Because it's going to bake, and it's going to create a little juice, whatnot. So now, let me just clear this load and get them off in here, and then I'll talk to you about the seasoning. But this is going to be, people ask me sometimes, how do you know it's going to be good? You never had it here, and you're trying something new when you got guests coming, They always say that. They say, you're pretty bold to be cooking something new that you never cooked here, on a day that you got guests coming. But once they finish eating it, they kind of say, a pretty good choice. So you can make this here. It's a special treat. Trust me. This is a special treat. If you fry this chicken, you won't have any of it left. You won't have any of it left. And it's so easy to make. People think that it's hard. The biggest part is your prep. If you do your prep, you'll be in good position. You'll get it done, and you'll be able to flow right through it. Smiley, I'm going to do a cookbook in honor of my mother. That's what we're doing. So this will be Bunny and her chef's cookbook. My mother was just a great cook, and she could make a meal out of anything. Just it tastes like. Now the excess of this, you don't use it. You can just throw it out. So now, with that being done, I told you that we season this with salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. That's what. Now, what we do is we put all our chicken on the cutting board, season it on both sides, put it in that pan that you just saw me with it in, and then we pour the eggs, the hot sauce, and water mixture over it, covered it, and put it in the refrigerator, and it's set there until just now. That's all you need to do with that. So the way that I season my food is a little bit different. Let me get it. I have pre-mixed my seasonings. So this is all of the seasonings mixed together. This way, when I sprinkle it on it, I'm done with one time instead of 4 times. So now, since I put this in there like that, and it's kind of like, it's got some spots that's some of this, the liquid has washed away. So what we're going to do now is sprinkle the top with this seasoning, just like that. This is a combination of salt, pepper, salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. See, that way that chicken's going to be nice and seasoned, and it's not going to be hot either. Although when I get it ready for the gravy, I'm going to put a jalapeno pepper in the gravy. But that's how you make this. Now this is ready. So I throw this in the oven along with the macaroni and cheese, and guess what? I've got a lot of meat already cooked. See, I got a pot of collard greens and neck bones over here that's already cooking. And so, I'm kind of like getting out in front of this because I don't intend to be cooking all day today, and I definitely don't intend to be cooking tomorrow. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cover it with foil, and it will go in the oven just like this on 350. Put it on 350, 375 initially, and then once it cooks a little bit, then I turn it down on 350. And then when I get ready to make the gravy and put the gravy in, I just pour the gravy in it, and I turn it down to 225, 250, cover it, and it just cooks, and it just saturates all the way through it. It's going to be some good stuff, because people eat chicken a lot, but there's so many different ways you can prepare it that even though it's the same meat, it can really be a special dish. And that's what we're going to have Thanksgiving Day. So now I'm going to work on, let's see, covering this up. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get this pre-cooked because I'm going to go ahead and get this pre-cooked because I don't need to wait on this, because once I get this cooked, it's going to have liquids in it, and all I have to do is cover it and put it in the refrigerator, and when we get ready to eat it, just put it in the oven on 200 degrees. So you can go ahead and cook this now, and you're going to see that's what I'm going to do. And when you're cooking meats and stuff like that, you don't have to wait till the oven gets to be that temperature. You can just go ahead and put it in. So now that's my chicken. And that's that special chicken now. So that's gonna be good, guys. I hope you guys are gonna get this. I hope you go to I have a channel and I need you guys to go there to Cooking with the Chef. You may have subscribed to Cooking with Bishop Jones, but I have a separate channel, Cooking with the Chef, that we are promoting, and we've got already 300 and some subscribers there. And I want you to go there and subscribe, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to take this meal, for instance, like all of the ingredients, every one of the ingredients is going to be a scripture inside of a lesson. So when you say, I'm going to eat some macaroni and cheese, okay, you're going to have a natural recipe to cook the macaroni and cheese, and you're going to have a spiritual recipe for a lesson, you know. And so, for instance, when the salt would be a verse of scripture, the pepper would be a verse of scripture, milk would be a verse of scripture, the cheese would be a verse of scripture, and all those scriptures are going to make up the recipe for that spiritual teaching. So it's just going to be exciting. Then we're going to have some interaction. I'm going to feature some of your products. You're going to get a chance to request items that you want me to feature and cook. And I'm also going to be inviting others to come on and cook these items and send me a proof of them cooking this item with this recipe. And then I'm going to be doing something for them as well and featuring them on the show. So it's just going to be exciting. So that's Cooking with the Chef. I should be in a red jacket. If that's not the profile picture of me in the red jacket, then you're in the wrong one. Well, just make sure it says Cooking with the Chef. You know, that way you'll have the right one. Or just subscribe to both of them. Hey, then you know you got it right. Okay. Turn on the notification bell so that you get these recipes. Now, if you want me to send you a recipe of this meal that we're preparing, we're going to eventually get around to posting those recipes in the description. Haven't done so yet. Haven't done it yet, but we're going to get around to doing that as well. So you can just go to the description and you can get the recipes as well. Okay. All right, I think that's going to do it for this segment. I trust that it's been a blessing to you. You've been in the kitchen with Bishop Jerome Jones of Reaching the Next Generation, and we're preparing Thanksgiving dinner for our church team and family members here at Bible Teachers International, Apostle Mary Banks, and a host of friends and family. Well, I've got to leave you now, but listen, come on and take a good taste of something good. I'm Bishop Jerome Jones saying, if you go with God, I know that God will surely go with you. And until the next time, have yourself a Jesus-filled day. Bye-bye.